Alright guys, here today, Natalie on her quest to go pro in whatever division of bodybuilding. I'm a huge bodybuilding coach. Quad day. Run us through, what are we gonna do on quad day? What are your goals right now?
Goals are to maximize my off season and build as much muscle as humanly possible.
Hell yeah.
So that when I next prep, which will probably be like early 2027, I'll be in really good shape to go for my pro card in the figure division.
Sweet, so it's okay today that we're training quads?
Yeah.
Quads are okay?
Yes.
Yes, okay.
Quads are a big part of the figure division, so you really need like the quad sweep, separation, development. You need muscle everywhere for figure.
Which is the easiest programming, just to get big everywhere, just have good balance, good execution everywhere, yeah.
You do have me on a very balanced program right now, so. Everything's growing, so no need to kind of like change any of those variables yet, until my quads are just so jacked.
Yeah.
Got to bring other stuff up to match.
I'll wait till you're tired to talk more about that. So starting out today with Natalie's warm-up, like you'll see we're doing a lot of the same stuff that we're doing with athletes, and I'm training a hip to hip. Natalie thinks to lack hip IR, so we're gonna go through some drills to help facilitate hip IR. Starting with the hip airplanes, just training some relative rotation of the pelvis, something that we're gonna call back on later in the session. So we're going through that, going through this little wall strider drill, more in the frontal plane, so getting more of that curtsy lunge, and it carries over well to something like a step down that we're gonna be doing next. And doing a B stance RDL. We actually have on her more glute focused day, her doing a loaded B stance RDL. Something again she's relatively bad at that will help her get better movement variability. So we're gonna include it in the warm up, get a second touch point during the week. Again, trying to double down on things like foot pressure, hip and internal rotation that'll help us move better as we get into the session. First exercise of the day is gonna be a step down. I love a step down, again, for someone like Natalie, who likes to try to do her very best to compensate into getting into more hip ER. It's like a B stance RDL, a split squat. Those are things that are actually bilateral basis support. So when I have 2 feet on the ground, I have more opportunity for me to kind of compensate or move out of those positions I'm trying to get into. So for more split stance, single leg based movements, we're trying to get into the frontal plane at the hip, trying to get a lot of length through that glute. Getting into a step down, standing on one leg, we have to actually physically shift our pelvis over that working leg. So we have to shift center of mass over that one leg basis support. We have to access the frontal plane on one leg. No choice not to, right? So doing a single leg RDL, doing a step down, those are things that actually make us get in those positions correctly. Now, going through her setup and execution, trying to maintain full foot pressure, trying to keep kind of big toe, knee, sternum in line to make sure that hip is outside of that knee. We're kind of getting that glute wrapping around the hip, getting good hip IR. We're gonna be holding on with our working leg hand, contralateral load to kind of challenge some rotation at the hip. One thing you'll see her doing is when she's getting set up, she'll stand on one leg before grabbing the support and kind of find her base. A lot of people, again, if we start adding in external support, they'll kind of rely on that as a crutch and they'll resort back to whatever their bias is. So we're gonna stand on that one leg, kind of get our hip shifted over that center, that single leg base of support, and then try to keep kind of big toe, knee, and sternum in line as we drop that belly button straight down over the heel. Another big mistake is a lot of people try to make these like far too glute biased, and they'll reach back super far and get all their weight into the heel. Right here, goal is glutes. We're trying to keep them more balanced, just make sure we're actually getting the movement pattern down well and being able to load it well and move to that full range of motion. So trying to do things where we're staying in a strong position and can execute the movement overall well. Second thing we're doing today is going to be a seated hamstring curl. Sounds basic. It is basic. Probably the best hamstring exercise that you can be doing. Stable pelvis, keep the back flat to the pad. Make sure we're creating a good counter force with our hands pushing into the pad. Almost like the cue, pushing the chest down into kind of a crunch just to create some stability or stack of the rib cage over the pelvis. Other thing, getting feet relatively hip width, keeping the shin straight. We're gonna need some degree of tibial internal rotation with knee flexion. So big keys, find stability of the pelvis, back flat to the pad, create a good counter force, and just make sure you're set up well, downstream, shin straight, active dorsiflexion. Yeah, come on. Yeah. There you go. Good, 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 good. Okay, so we're trying to have some foresight, especially when we're pushing really hard, we're adding a lot of muscle. It's gonna have implications for potentially loading a little bit more structure or getting stronger than structure, tendons and ligaments can handle in the short term. So I think in general, it's kind of like a bodybuilding meathead thing to do hamstring curls before doing a squatting motion. But just in general, if I'm doing a pendulum squat or a hack squat or any hack squat motion, I can get a lot of the elements that I'm gonna need on that from a seated hamstring curl. What are we doing in a squat? Hip flexion, knee flexion, dorsiflexion. What am I doing in a seated hamstring curl? Hip flexion, knee flexion, dorsiflexion, right? So I'm getting a lot of the same components that I'm gonna need out of a pendulum squat. We're gonna do that here before we go and do that. I don't think a seated hamstring curl is gonna fatigue your pendulum squat very much. Yeah, not at all. So I think if you're someone who's dealing with knee issues, or you just feel a bit clunky in your squatting patterns, you can try to throw in some seated hamstring curls before you do that.
I think what's been interesting is we've been working through like some hip stuff and like some hip dysfunction. And when we added the step downs before pendulum, so like after, so we go leg curl, step downs, pendulum, I was really nervous that the step downs were going to affect, like negatively impact my pendulum. But what we found was because I'm now moving so much better through the hip, everything else has gotten better. So I'm having like better connection on my leg press, and like pendulum hasn't suffered at all. So that's been really cool.
Yeah, that was one of the things too, is like when we added that in, I was trying to tell you, I was like, you're not gonna be good at it. I'm intentionally giving you something that you're not good at. So you're not gonna be able to train it at a high enough like stimulus where it's gonna actually fatigue anything else.
Which I immediately hated.
Yeah, and I think at the point that you've progressed that, you've gotten stronger everywhere else. So it's not negatively affected performance. And like you're saying, it's even potentiated better performance because you're moving better through your hips, which will help you move better on anything else that we're doing that involves hip flexion, knee flexion together in a day.
Yeah, better connections everywhere, which has just leveled up my training so much.
Next up, pendulum squats. If you want beefy quads, I can't think of anything better to do than a nice pendulum squat or a nice hack squat. Luckily, we have a variety of those here. Keeping the main thing, let's get into a position where we can drive our knees as far forward as possible while keeping full foot contact. So I don't want the heels coming up. I want full foot contact. I want to stay in a position where I can produce as much force as possible. Outside of that, making sure ass is coming off the pad, same basic stuff. Honestly, doesn't need much explanation. Get in a position where you can comfortably squat to depth, keep full foot pressure, take it to the house. Control that bottom, push, push, push. Control that bottom, push, 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 push. Yep. Keep it, keep it, keep it. Yep, yep, yep. Don't get loose on me. Don't get loose. Don't get loose. Don't get loose. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Good, 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 good. Sit. Chill, chill, chill. Okay, I got you. A couple of things there. People get tired on pendulum squats. A lot of the time they want to kind of dive bomb it. She was not dive bombing it at all. We're just being, one, we're trying to be diligent with keeping tension on the quads. Two, trying to have some foresight. She was dealing with some low back stuff previously, so like typically she would feel low back stuff if she would kind of lose that tension in the bottom range. That's pretty common with people. So being really mindful of controlling that transition from the eccentric to the concentric. If you hear me cueing that, hear me cueing, keep your heels. I like to over cue a certain direction. Same for like RDLs. People get back in their heels a lot. I'll cue push to your toes. I don't actually want you in your toes. I don't actually want inner heels here, but if the heels are trying to come up, I'm just trying to keep that full foot contact. That cue is kind of just steering the direction there. I'm sure you have no comments. You're out of breath. Good job.
That felt terrible.
Yeah. On the pendulum squat, you'll see very often people set their feet way too high. So they're gonna almost have like a negative shin angle. Or I've even seen people try to make the pendulum squat into a glute exercise. If you have a pendulum squat in your gym, I promise you have a leg press, you're not gonna be able to turn a pendulum squat into a very effective glute exercise. If you would like to do that, do it on the leg press. So pendulum squat, quads, getting a lot of that forward knee travel. If you look at the vector of resistance, it's gonna be more perpendicular to the femur when we're in that bottom position. Versus, if you look at that, okay, perpendicular to the femur, it's gonna be running through the hip. Versus here, if you look at the vector of force, it's gonna be going more to the femur, perpendicular to the hip, so we're gonna be getting more tension through our hip. I remember like Nat and I had an argument about this early on working together, where I was like, we don't need more quad out of a leg press than we have pendulum squat. She's like, okay, well, I have a glute focus day. I really wanna grow my quads. I don't mind having a trade-off where, okay, I am doing a leg press that is both glute and quad, even after doing kind of a pendulum squat. So might seem a little bit redundant, but it's worked pretty well for us so far. It's a good way for us to get some extra glute exposure, as well as still challenge the quads a little bit on a given leg day. You're gonna keep that tension. Drive, drive, drive. Six. Come on. Yep. Yep. You got two. Yep, 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 yep. Yep, finish, finish. Good, 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 good. Back. Good job. Great job. High and wide, it's more glutes, more hamstrings. It's like, the reality is you're probably getting a pretty shitty range of motion if you're going too high, too wide. We're going more of a glute focus. I'd like to go more hip width. Get a like slightly forward shin angle on the bottom. So I want a more negative or neutral shin angle, but I don't want to be so high up that I'm staying negative, just because I want to be in a position where I can still push load. And that's going like a little bit lower with their feet. You get a little bit more knee flexion here, so we are kind of blending that. But it's like, if I want to get hip extension, I want to challenge my glutes, I want to load them through hip flexion, hip internal rotation. So if I go more hip width, kind of feet straight, and kind of bias that hip flexion position, I can get more length in my glutes versus going high and wide. It's like, well, now I'm almost preloading myself into hip flexion. I can't get a very good range of motion. I'm going too wide. I'm going to limit that range of motion even more. And it's just like a generally weak position to train in. So I'm getting less range of motion. Can't load it as well. I'd rather get into a position where I can get more range of motion through the working muscle and load it well. That's kind of our goal for hypertrophy, right? Wrapping up here, quad extensions. How do we maximize our quad growth? Pendulum squat, quad extension, something unilateral we'll throw in there from a functional standpoint, but walking through the setup should be pretty straightforward. You shouldn't have to get out the fucking rocket science shit to execute a quad extension. Hip, knee, ankle in line, actively dorsiflex, like the Q shin straight, same for the hamstring curl. We are gonna have some rotation at the shins when we're doing knee flexion, knee extension. Most people will start rotated out too far, so getting that forward will allow for a little bit more external rotation as we go up. It's pretty nuanced, but generally speaking, shins forward, dorsiflex. It's getting the knee into a better position to, one, extend, but also to be stable so we can push more weight. Mm-hmm. Yep, let's go. You got 10. Pull those handles. You got it. Get up. Get up, get up, get up, get up, get up, get up, get up. You're done. Last thing, calf raises, which we already snuck in between sets elsewhere. I'm not going to talk about why we're doing calf raises or do an introductory video on calf raises. So that wraps up the day. Pretty balanced quad day. Closing remarks. Good session.
Cooked.
Cooked. Good session. Cooked. High quality movement, high intensity. Do that for a long period of time and you're bound to get jacked.